Well, ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. The big Microsoft event announcing Windows 11. Even though in the actual Windows 11 announcement there wasn't much announcements around Windows 11, because even though the presentation was 45 minutes long, they did a lot of what I like to call Apple talk. You know what I mean? When a company says that a brand new product is so good that it's like the final piece that civilization needs to escape being stuck in the dark ages forever. And instead of telling us why it's so great, they just kind of skirt around a point for around, say, 45 minutes. Now, in fairness, they did announce a few things, though definitely not as many as they probably needed to really get people hyped for Windows 11. Not to mention that the whole thing was hosted by a guy who looked like he was about to cry. But anyway, let's start off with one more interesting section of the whole presentation, the section around gaming. And I don't know, I just got a feeling like Microsoft really cares about gamers, you know?
I want to talk to you about something awesome. Gaming. Gamer?
Gaming, gaming, games, game.
In this section, they finally announced a whole bunch of awesome features from the Xbox series of Xboxes are coming over to Windows PCs, and that includes the direct storage API, which I recently made a video about. So I highly recommend you check it out. It's gonna be up in the iCards. Essentially, it's just gonna mean that your games are gonna load much faster. So definitely check out that video so you know if you have the specs in your PC to support direct storage. Another thing to bring over from the Xbox family is Auto HDR, which they showed off using a demo of Skyrim of all games, even though that game is literally 10 years old this year. Yeah, feel old yet? But whatever, it's shown decent enough results of how the game looks like with Auto HDR. And I mean, yeah, it looks pretty fine. For people who do have HDR displays, this will be definitely a huge game changer, so I'm happy for those people. But what other games apart from Skyrim could we even use this tech for, Microsoft?
Even Doom 64.
Wait, what? What? Even Doom 64? A game that no one cares about and it's even older than Skyrim? Okay, Microsoft, you win. Be right back, I'm just gonna buy an HDR display. Just give me a second. Now let's talk about the overall design of Windows 11, because there's gonna be quite a few changes there. Now naturally, one of the first things people noticed when looking at screenshots of Windows 11 is the fact that the taskbar is now right in the middle, with all your icons being there, including the start menu and the search bar. However, thankfully Microsoft said that you can also just keep it on the left hand side if you want, which is great if you don't want to sacrifice all those decades of muscle memory of clicking on the bottom left to bring up the start menu. Not only that, but now you can also further customize multiple desktops, with each one having an individual background, color scheme, etc. and etc. Which sounds pretty cool in theory, but honestly, does anyone actually use multiple desktops? Please tell me. If you use it or know anyone who uses it, please let me know, because I literally never met anyone in my life who uses multiple desktops. Though at the same time, I haven't met too many people in my life, just period, so Another interesting addition for power users is the fact that you can now select between several layouts for your windows, and then when you minimize it, they'll basically be stored as a group. So by simply clicking on the group again in your taskbar, you can bring up all the windows in the exact positions they were in before, and also then doing a lot to make multiple displays so much nicer to work with in Windows. Now if you say disconnect and reconnect a display, its position will be stored, and not only that, but it will restore any and all windows you had open on that display and just move them over. They also spent a big part of the presentation talking about how Windows 11 will be so much better suited for mobile devices, because apparently they didn't learn the lesson with Windows 8. So for UI changes, that's pretty much all we got. Again, we didn't receive too much information, not even stuff like pricing or a release date. For those, you had to go to the Microsoft website after the fact to see that it's coming sometime later this year, and will be a free upgrade for people with Windows 10. But speaking of upgrading, here's something that people have also been very confused about. Because when using the Microsoft program for detecting if your PC is ready for Windows 11, many people got this cryptic message saying that their PC isn't ready for Windows 11, even if it's a brand new machine. So what is going on? Well, most likely it's the same lack of TPM 2.0 and secure boot, which I talked about in my previous videos on Windows 11. So for many people who aren't as tech literate, turning those features on in BIOS may be a pain, while many others with older computers may not even have them and just may miss out on Windows 11 entirely. However, like I talked about in my how to install Windows 11 video, which I also highly recommend you check out, it's going to be up in the iCards, the fix to it, at least right now, is pretty easy and just involves using a different YAML file for the image. Will this fix still work in the full release? Who knows, but so far it looks like if you don't have TPM 2.0, if this weird fix in the leaked ISO still works, then it's not the end of the world. And that's really it when it comes to Windows 11. Like, you'd imagine that with 45 minutes, they would have announced a lot of stuff. But instead, they spent time talking about how this woman's first PC was an IBM and how she has fond memories of using it with her dad, and okay, cute and all, I guess, but we're kind of here for the brand new features, you know, Microsoft, not to learn this woman's life story. And the whole presentation still left so many big questions unanswered. For example, they didn't talk about if they're finally going to have a unified user interface instead of a current one, where you have leftover elements from tons of previous versions of Windows. They didn't talk about any exclusive features for any Pro or Enterprise editions, or even what kind of editions are going to exist of it. And they didn't even talk about the one problem I constantly complain about in my Windows 11 videos, and that's combining together settings, control panel, the registry editor, and also all settings that have individual apps for some reason. Microsoft, please, just fix it already. Just merge them all into one, please. And with Windows 11 coming later this year, that's still a lot that's completely unknown about it. And to add insult to injury, they didn't even announce any early access program or beta program, so we may not know what is exactly new to it for many months. So hopefully they are working on something else, because right now it's still looking like a bit of a lackluster update. Granted, there is some really awesome stuff, direct storage API, auto HDR, all that stuff really cool. However, there's still so many things that people have been complaining about for ages that Microsoft needs to address here, and if they had any good cards to play, they would have probably played them at the presentation yesterday. Not to mention that the presentation itself was a bit of a bad omen, probably, seeing how it was constantly freezing every 5 seconds for everyone. So why even create a whole new version of Windows if there's gonna be so few new features even going into it, at least for now? Especially seeing how much stuff Microsoft can add to Windows 10 with just new updates. And remember that Windows 10 was supposed to be the final version of Windows, with just occasional updates to make it even better. Why didn't they make Windows 11 just a big update to Windows 10? Well, because a update to Windows 10 would never get the same amount of publicity as a whole new operating system, even though in theory, Microsoft could very easily ship out all the brand new features of Windows 11 into Windows 10 through just a big update. At least from what we know so far. From the language that Microsoft has been using in the presentation, and the fact that we are even getting a whole new OS in the first place, even though we weren't supposed to, it really looks like Microsoft's trying real hard to really hype it up, to make it seem like it's more than just a huge overhaul to Windows 10. However, Microsoft, here's something you have to consider. If you really want to bring back those days of those huge Windows launches, if you want scenes like these in shops during the Windows 95 release, and if you want release parties like this one for Windows 95, well, those things simply won't happen unless you put in enough features into brand new OS to make people care that much and to make people that hyped like clearly you were when Windows 95 got launched. Otherwise, those days will simply not return. That doesn't mean I'm not excited for Windows 11, there's still some pretty cool stuff coming, and as a PC enthusiast, I'm just looking forward to having some new stuff to play around with. But definitely let me know what you thought of the presentation down in the comments below. And let me know if you're going to be getting Windows 11 day one like I will be. And hey, if you like this video and you want to help support the channel, then maybe check out my Patreon, which is going to be down in the video description below. And even $1 a month goes a long way in helping out this channel. It allows you to make way better videos and also videos on way more interesting topics. I'd also love to thank my existing patrons Gavin Burns, Ryan, LKB, Meg Sumner, and Blake DeRake. Thank you guys so much, your support truly goes a long way. Down there you're also going to find our Amazon Associates links, plus also our old customs link if you want to get 5% off on the awesome keyboards, plus down there's our Discord server as well if you want to talk to me or others at this or whatever else really, plus also down there's our social media links as well. But anyway, that's about it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone, goodbye.